Hello and welcome to FD, where today we're looking at 10 players your club needs to move on this January. Let's go. 10. Kelechi Iheanacho. The World Cup has come at the wrong time for Leicester City. 5 wins and 2 draws in their last 8 games has dragged Brendan Rodgers' side to 13th, 4 points clear of the relegation zone. But there is plenty more work that needs to be done for the Foxes to stay afloat. Raising funds for new recruits in the January transfer window looks essential, and there are some key candidates for the chop. Jose Perez continues to underwhelm with just 1 assist and 5 appearances this term. But now 29 and entering the final 6 months of his contract, no club is stumping up good money for the man who once cost £30 million. Instead, we think Kelechi Iheanacho should go to auction. After managing 4 goals last season, the Nigerian forward has contributed just a single strike this term. However, at 26 he still has time to improve, and it was only 2 seasons ago he hit 12 in the league, his highest ever return across a campaign. Transfermarkt values the former City star at around £10 million, which is a top end figure a club on the continent or beyond might just decide to spend. 9. Arkadiusz Milik. There's nothing exactly wrong with Arkadiusz Milik playing for Juventus. The Pole has always been a decent goalscorer, is in his prime at 28 and has bagged 4 goals this season in 7 starts, helping Juve to victories over Lazio and Bologna and earning a draw with Fiorentina. But the forward's presence is part of a larger problematic club which has lost its grip on Serie A in recent years, as Max Allegri continues to rely on older players at the expense of building a new generation to compete for titles. Milik is soaking up minutes which could go to Moise Kean, who is 22 and cost the Bianconeri €30 million when they reacquired him from Everton in the summer. The youngster gets more shots than the Marseille loanee with 3.5 to 2.5, has better XG with 0.8 to 0.5, completes more dribbles with 1.3 to 0.3 and works harder, making 4 times as many tackles than the older forward. So that begs the question, why continue to invest game time in a player who'll be gone in 2023? And that's not all they're investing. Milik costs Juve €86,000 a week, money which could be better spent in the transfer market. Time for the old lady to stop ignoring the future. 8. Marco Asensio. Widely expected to leave Real Madrid in the summer, Marco Asensio will instead return from the World Cup with 6 months on his contract, the perfect opportunity to find a lucrative switch out of the Bernabeu. Frankly, the 26-year-old is lucky to be on the plane, with just 4 members of the Madrid squad seeing fewer league minutes this season, though Luis Enrique clearly doesn't worry about form that much, also taking Pablo Sarabia and Ferran Torres to the tournament despite rancid half seasons to date. At least Asensio has produced when played, scoring once and assisting twice in 186 minutes, but a new contract seems unlikely and unwise, with Vinicius occupying one flank and Rodrigo staking his claim to the other, the Brazilian pair on 0.7 and 0.9 XG per 90, both outstripping Asensio's best season in white. But he does have talent. The Spaniard hit 3 shots a game last year and maintains a career pass accuracy of 82%, placing him in the top 12% of wingers and making him an interesting target for a possession side pushing for a title, like Napoli, who found success with Madrid rejects like Albiol, Higuain and Callejón. Having earned roughly £40 million during his time with Real and only delivering 46 goal involvements in that period, the club should finally let Asensio try his luck elsewhere. A starring role at a smaller side might just suit him better. 7. Albert Sambi Lokonga. Let's be clear, there's no way the Gunners are selling anyone mid-season with a potential title on the cards, unless they can bring in a world-class replacement. But Mikel Arteta should be thinking about a new home for the young midfielder Sambi Lokonga. At 23, Lokonga should be coming into his prime, but he seems further away if anything, getting left out of the Belgian World Cup squad in favour of Brugge veteran Hans van Aken and a 33-year-old Alex Witsel. No wonder, as Lokonga is only an emergency option for his club, playing just 200 league minutes for Arsenal, in which time the Gunners have scored both 3 and conceded 3, making him the only Arsenal player not to see a positive goal difference while he's been on the pitch. His 2.7 tackles per game is only 2/3 of Partey's output, while he dribbles half as much, and though he can clearly pass, the stats show there are 6 players better at moving possession upfield in the Gunners squad. Swap him for a more experienced candidate, and Arteta could shore up his title charge post-Christmas. But keep Lokonga and get a midfield injury, and top spot could evaporate pretty quickly. 6. Memphis Depay. Frankly, we're not sure why any club would want to get rid of Memphis Depay. Across his career, the Dutchman has excelled in multiple areas, hitting 4 shots, 3.7 chances created and 2.5 dribbles at different points, all elite numbers and indicative of a talent which can shine in any attacking role. And when he arrived at Barcelona in 2021, he showed immediately that his 32 goal involvements in 33 games for Lyon the year before was no Farmers League stat padding, hitting 0.6 xG per 90 and top scoring for the Blaugrana across a turbulent year in Catalonia. However, he's clearly not in Xavi's plans, playing 9% of available minutes this term, and with his 29th birthday in February, he'll be keen to secure one last big contract with a club deserving of his ability. So the World Cup arrives at a good moment, with DEPAY often saving his best for his country. With an insane 30 assists and 42 goals and 81 caps coming into the tournament, he ranks as the second highest scorer in Dutch history, although in the early matches it's actually his teammate Cody Gakpo who has stolen the show in Qatar. Still, DEPAY is being linked with Tottenham, Manchester United and Chelsea, and his whopping £238,000 a week salary in Barcelona is one they'll want to move on as soon as possible. 5. Divock Origi. AC Milan have made an art of reclamation projects in recent years, taking on big club rejects like Giroud, Diaz and Pierre Kalulu and making them champions last season as they romped to a 19th Scudetto ahead of rivals Inter. But while many tip Divock Origi as the next success story in Milan, the striker has played only 400 minutes so far in Serie A, with 5 forwards earning more game time than him at San Siro, ultimately costing the Belgian his place in Roberto Martinez's World Cup squad. Origi's output as an impact sub at Liverpool perhaps inflated his reputation, as he often came on late in games, meaning that across his spell at Anfield, he scored every 127 minutes in the Prem, not to mention netting in the Champions League final. But just 34 starts in a red shirt since 2015 is unsurprisingly poor preparation for a starting spot with the Italian champions, and Origi sits on the same XG as midfielder Tonali. While 9 Milan players are involved in more shots and nobody loses possession more often than the 27-year-old. If you're in your prime and you can't displace a 36-year-old Olivier Giroud, there's clearly an issue, and it's better to admit you made a mistake rather than spend another half-decade withering on the bench. Perhaps a low move to a toothless team like Wolves or Everton could be the boost Origi needs. 4. Joao Felix. Atletico Madrid are lucky to be 5th in Spain heading into the World Cup. Simeone's team has only the 8th best expected goal difference in La Liga, with 4 teams boasting better attacking and defensive records. So it would be odd for them to sell Joao Felix, who has 6 goal involvements in 500 minutes this season, trailing only Griezmann in the Colchonero squad. But press reports suggest their Champions League exit has strained club finances, and January sales could be the only way out, putting Felix in the shop window as one of their few enticing assets. Simeone has tried to play down the possibility amid rumours of a rift, but Felix can't be blamed if he does want a change, having struggled to hit the heights demanded of his £113 million price tag. Though he's put up between 0.5 and 0.7 xG per game across his 4 years in Madrid, he's never been a regular, with 21 starts in his first campaign his best, a pity given he has slowly improved his defensive, dribbling, shooting and creative numbers, ranking in the top 15% of forwards in all 4 categories over the last 12 months. A good tournament in Qatar will boost his value even more, but Felix, whose name means lucky, needs a change of fortune. 3. Thorgan Hazard. Back in 2019, it was a good time to be a Hazard. Eden was coming off 31 goals and assists in his best ever Chelsea campaign, while brother Thorgan was excelling in Dortmund, producing 10 strikes and 11 more created, making it all the stranger that just 3 years on, neither one is in their manager's plans. The pair combining for a miserable 560 minutes so far in the 2022-23 campaign. Eden's struggles are well documented, but Thorgan's downfall has been bad luck, a succession of thigh tears removing him from BVB's lineup after 3 strong seasons in a row. Since 2021, he started just 29% of league matches, and this year is shaping up to be his worst so far, coach Edin Terzic handing more game time to 8 other attackers, and without a single goal contribution to date, the Belgian is spending most of his minutes at left wing back and apparently losing all his dribbling ability, falling to an appalling 20% success rate one-on-one. Given that his deal expires in 2024 and he could hit 50 caps for his nation during the World Cup, Dortmund will be hoping suitors are paying close attention to the wide man. 2. Alfredo Morelos. According to the former Rangers star and pundit Alan Hutton, whoever succeeds Giovanni van Bronckhorst at Ibrox should get rid of Alfredo Morelos as soon as possible. And Hutton isn't alone in his criticism of the Colombian forward, with several ex-professionals and journalists turning on the 26-year-old. Morelos has managed a paltry 3 goals and 1 assist for the Bears in the league this season, and given he's injury-free, has scored 11 in each of his last 2 campaigns and is the second highest earner in the squad on £33,000 per week. That simply isn't good enough. His contract expires this summer, and Morelos has cut a figure counting down the days until he leaves Glasgow behind. His shots have dropped by 2/3 from last season to 1.4 per game, his aerial win rate has halved, while he's managed just one successful dribble so far. 2 yellows and 1 red in just over 300 minutes of action is also a worrying sign that his ill discipline has returned. Rangers need a big refresh this winter, and that starts with saying goodbye to Morelos. 1. Christian Pulisic. It may seem a weird time for Chelsea to get rid of a forward. After all, 12 Premier League sides have outscored the Blues this season, and in their last 5 games before the World Cup break, they failed to net on 3 occasions, bringing Graham Potter to a miserable 50% win rate in one of the most precarious seats in English football. But Christian Pulisic doesn't offer much help. The American has appeared for just 389 minutes this season in 13 games, under 30 minutes per appearance, and in that time he's registered 2 goal involvements, sinking to 0.3 XG per 90, under half what he managed in his first season with Chelsea at 21. On that initial form, you'd have expected him to be a starter by now, but instead Chelsea have bought 6 forwards in 3 years since, while the former Dortmund man's form and injury issues have reduced him to nothing more than a bench option in the eyes of Lampard, Tuchel and now Potter, suggesting he doesn't convince on the training ground either. Not shocking given that he's only once hit 2,000 league minutes in a season way back in 2017-18. Now 24, Pulisic is still a worthwhile reclamation project for someone, and he's bound to play every minute in Qatar at the tip of the Yankee spear, boosting his price for January, but sadly a decent sale seems the best that Chelsea can hope for. So that was our look at 10 players your club has to get rid of in January, but what did you make of our selection? Let us know in the comments down below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and subscribe to Football Daily, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.